Are you thinking about moving to Greenville, but you're just not sure and you want a little bit more information about what exactly are the cons of living here? So I'm going to talk about the top 7 things that people complain about that live here in Greenville, South Carolina. So first up, let's talk about the weather, right? We're known for having more mild temperatures during the winter, which is great. Everyone loves that, right? No one's going to complain about having a mild winter unless you're someone that loves snow. But for summers, we're going to get hot and humid here. Okay, I'm talking upper 80s, low 90s, and it's going to be humid. And with the combination of those two things, it can make summertime activities, especially outdoor activities, a lot less enjoyable. And people complain about that a lot. But we do have water parks in the area. We have 3, in fact. So you have opportunities to get outside and do activities that will hopefully keep you cool during the extremely hot and humid months here. But bottom line is, if you're not a person that loves heat or humidity, then you're not gonna love it here. And that's pretty relative, because if you're coming from somewhere like the beach or from Florida, this isn't gonna be humid to you. You're gonna get here and be like, these people are crazy, it's not humid here at all. But if you're definitely coming from further up north, it's gonna be an adjustment for you. So keep that in mind. If you're not someone that loves hot, humid weather, might not be the best place for you to be. Because we have a hot and humid environment, we have all of those hot and humid creatures that love that environment, which means we have mosquitoes, we have cockroaches, we have gnats, and we have fire ants. Listen, I don't think anyone likes bugs, and unfortunately, it's just the name of the game here. It's where we live, it's the environment that we're in, we're gonna have them. And chances are, if you're just anywhere in the South or the Southeast, you're gonna have these bugs regardless of where you are. This is not a specific thing to Greenville, but it's worth mentioning for anyone that's coming from up north that may not have some of those bugs or may not be as accustomed to coming across them. So we do have them here, and I don't care if you're in a brand new construction home or if you're in a home that was built in the 1920s, you're gonna still experience all of them. So don't think just because you buy a brand new construction home doesn't mean that you're gonna have any bugs around you, because that's just not the case here. It's just the environment that we live in. The third reason that people most complain about living here is, of course, the construction and the traffic. So Greenville has experienced a boom in population over the last few years. We've had some incredible recognition in the media for being one of the best small towns to live in. Downtown Greenville continuously gets recognized as being in the top downtowns in the United States, all the fun things. But with that means that people are constantly moving here, and with that growth comes growing pains. And so while some of the areas of Greenville have been redeveloped and are really nice, there are still a lot of parts in this town that are currently experiencing growing pains. And with those growing pains comes a lot of construction, which doesn't help with traffic. And when you've got an influx of people, not only does that bring traffic, but then you also add construction traffic on top of it. It's just a little bit of a headache, especially for some of the locals here. Again, traffic's gonna be relative to where you're coming from, because if you're coming from a bigger city, this traffic's gonna be a breeze for you. But if you're not, if you're coming from somewhere that's a little bit more rural, something just to keep in mind, if you are someone that is going to be commuting to work and your commute includes Woodruff Road or I-85, just know that those are heavily high traffic pain points for a lot of people in the area. And when you are making your commute to and from work, chances are you're gonna hit traffic, and you're gonna wanna build that time into your commute time, especially when you're looking at houses in the area. Really quickly, in case you're new here to this channel, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jaclyn Burrows. I'm your local realtor here in Greenville, South Carolina. This channel, the Greenville Living Experience, is designed to bring you all things Greenville related, so you know exactly what you're getting when you're coming here. And if you are thinking about moving here, I would absolutely love the opportunity to work with you. I work with clients every day in this area and surrounding areas on their home journey process. Make sure you go check out the description below. There's a link there where you can fill out a form to work with me in case you're interested in moving to the Greenville area. So next thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that Greenville is a smaller city. And with us being a smaller city comes things like a lack of transportation. We do have a transportation system here in Greenville, but it mainly stays within the city itself and maybe just a little bit outside of that. But we are a heavily car dependent city, and so it can be kind of difficult to get around if you're gonna rely solely on the bus transportation system to get you around. However, we are a big enough city that we have Uber, we have Lyft. So if for whatever reason you needed to get outside of the city and you didn't want to have a car, we do have Uber and Lyft in the area, and you shouldn't have a problem getting either of those. The other thing about being a small city is that we have a lot of things to do here, but we're not going to be able to compete with places like Charlotte, Raleigh, and Atlanta, which we are close to within a few hours of all of those cities, but we're not as big as them. So if you're looking for a big city life feel, that's not Greenville. We are still, I would say, a mid-sized city, and we are growing every day, so that's something to keep in mind as well. We just don't have the infrastructure and the amenities and activities that some of those other larger cities are gonna have. So things like your nightlife scene, we do have a nightlife scene here in Greenville if that's your thing, but again, you're not gonna find what you're gonna find in Charlotte, Raleigh, Atlanta, any of those big cities. Something else about Greenville is that our location, some consider to be a prime spot, while others might find it a little bit frustrating. If you are someone that likes water and likes your lakes or your beaches, then something to keep in mind about Greenville is that you're gonna have to drive to get to those places, right? We're not on the coast, so we're about 3 to 4 hours from the beach. You could still make it there in a day, but it's not exactly an easy day trip. Versus if you're somewhere closer to the coast like Columbia, which is our capital here in the state, then you might have an easier time getting out there. Now, the other thing, we do have lakes in the area. Two of our most well-known are Lake Hartwell and Lake Kiowee. And downtown Greenville is about 45 minutes to an hour from both of those lakes. So again, you're still going to be driving to the lakes and to get to water, regardless of which direction you're going. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're a really big water person, you might be pushed out further to the outskirts of Greenville or surrounding counties. And last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about the home prices here in Greenville. So we've talked a lot about Greenville's experiencing growth, and with growth comes growing pains, and with growth also comes increasing home prices. And so we are slightly above the national average with our home pricing here in Greenville specifically. And that actually wasn't the case a few years ago. COVID and the exposure that Greenville has gotten through the media has really blown that up and has made the demand go up so much that our housing prices have gone up. Now, the rest of our cost of living is still pretty much below the national average, and if you're interested in that, make sure you go check out my video where I talk a little bit more in depth about what the cost of living here is in Greenville, South Carolina. But like I said, for the most part, our housing costs slightly above average. Cost of living is still a little bit below the national average, so it's kind of a little bit of a trade-off, but this can make it difficult to live in the area if you're on a lower or fixed income. And those are the top reasons that people complain about living here. A lot of these reasons that you heard today are subjective and depend on where you're coming from. So they may not be cons for you, but are definitely cons for other people. But I would say overall, those are the top complaints that we get here about living in the Greenville area. So all things to be considered and aware of if you're thinking about moving here. If you are thinking about moving here and you want a little bit more information, a little bit more help, I would absolutely love to help you on your home journey. Make sure you go to the description box below and click the link to fill out and work with me, and we'll get started on your journey here today.